Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful Wednesday with us on the Live with Lloyd family. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. As you see, I have a very dear friend, a most renowned astrologer in his own right. This brother is brilliant. I'm telling you, uh, I ain't gonna try to pour too much honey on it, syrup on it, but the brother is bad. That's all I can tell you. He's really a genius in his own right. But his name, and I stand corrected, I spell it Robertson. It's Robertson, Robertson. So for that, I do apologize to Brother Reese. I've just always known him as Reese until the last couple of weeks I found out his last name. But when you know people like that, you know you don't need no first and last name. It's just Brother Reese or Ever Reese. You know what I'm saying? That's how we roll. Before we bring him on, though, as you know, I always like to give the forecast for today. Hold on, let me do this. Let me do this. Whoops. There we go. Hold on. Let's see. All right, folks. As you see, that's the beauty of live. Let me explain. Today, our moderator, Empress Sherelle, uh, so it might be a little challenging today. She called me not too long ago to say that her mom transitioned today. So she is not being able to moderate, but I wanted to share with you the Live with Lloyd family. And she was very close to her mother, and you could tell she was really, really broken up. So she'll be with us next week, but she wanted to send her love. And I told her we are going to let people know we're going to send our love to her and her mom, who transitioned at 74 years old today. All righty. So at any rate, let me tell you about the forecast today. All right, here we go. It's Wednesday, August 23rd. The sun is in Leo/Virgo. I think it was in Leo earlier this morning. I think it might be in Virgo now. I have to ask my eminent astrologer friend. He could probably tell me. Mercury is now retrograde. Okay. So for you who are saying, wow, when is Mercury retrograde? It is now from the 23rd of August to the 15th of September. It normally gives a 21-day run, normally 3 times a day. I mean, 3 times a year. So this is it here, everybody. And so the moon is in Scorpio. It'll be in Sagittarius tomorrow. It's a 6 universal month, a 1 universal week, an 11 universal day. So if you happen to be a Leo, an Aquarius, Cancer, Gemini, or Virgo, all born on the 2nd or the 5th, the 11th or the 14th, the 20th or the 23rd, like my guest, he's born on the 23rd, and today is the 23rd. And if you want to know why I do these things, almost always it's deliberate, and a lot of times it's subconscious that I'm not aware. I'll just schedule, and it just happened to coincide with either their zodiac sign or date of birth. So with that, let me just say this before we go ahead. These are the planets that are retrograde. Okay, as you see, there is Pluto. It tells you when that there's Saturn, there's Neptune, there's Venus, there's Mercury, there's Uranus, and as of today, Mercury is included among this distinguished group. Now, it's rare, I think, to have this many planets retrograde at the same time. So, in other words, whoever's giving birth today and through this, uh, their baby or babies will have no less than 6 planets retrograde. It all depends on where, the time, the location they were born, and how the houses are spread around the wheel of the horoscope, and the placements and the angles thereof. This should be interesting. At the United States, it's in a 9 personal year, and it's an 8 personal month, and 9 governs fires and firearms and explosions and guns and fender benders, all kinds of things. And that seems to be what what is gripping the country at this point, especially back in last week or week and a half ago with the fires in Maui, Hawaii. All right, I've had some friends call me from that part of the world too. But without further ado, let me introduce my guest. Hold on. I want to introduce everybody to my good friend and family, as far as I'm concerned, Reese Robertson. Reese, how you doing, buddy?
Peace, peace, peace.
Reese,
How are you?
huh?
So
Okay,
how are
folks.
you?
I am fine. I'm fine. Listen, question. As a prominent astrologer as you are, has done this for the longest. Is it normally normal, shall we say, to have these many planets all retrograde at the same time, especially in the hot month of August? If that makes sense?
Once a year, once a year we have what they like to call a stellium of angles, planets, or aspects that are retrograde. So at least two to three uh, of the timing. Right now, with that retrograde that we have going on, we have several of the slower moving planets, what they like to call the outer planets, and Pluto, Neptune, Saturn is iffy because it still has a 7 years cycle. Blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah.
Mm-hmm.
Or a 27.5 or something like that return schedule. So those are slower moving planets, so they tend to stay in the sun much longer. Especially the outer planets beyond Saturn, they stay in the planets for years.
Is that
7
why they call
years.
them generation? Is that why they call them generational planets? Because they
Well,
last
yes,
so
that
long.
is why they call them generational planets. I don't like to use the term because then people are the conflict in astrology is, oh, you have generational, you have personal, and the generational planets aren't personal. I don't agree with that that mind frame. I believe that the outer planets, or the generational planets, are as personal as the Sun, Mercury, and anyone else. Pluto in your chart, Neptune in your chart, Uranus in your chart can be and is personal. So that's why the only reason I don't generally like, oh, the generational plans, but for the idea of the keepsake of everyone understanding on the same accord, yes, those generational planets.
How did you get into astrology, my friend?
Whoa, man, it's not a long story. It's just a unique, a different story. I'm into science fiction, comic books, anime, gaming, tabletop gaming like Dungeons and Dragons, role playing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, just I'm into that. But I
Mm-hmm.
was raised in the streets, so I had a incident dealing with street stuff that changed my life. And I decided, man, these streets ain't for me. I ain't built for it. I thought it was. So I wanted out, and I wanted to change my life and go in a different direction. I wanted to be healthier. I wanted to be just a nicer person, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and deal with. And I felt as if I changed who I was, the people that I would attract would be different. And so that was my focus at the time. And
That's an interesting way of looking at
at
it.
the time, MySpace was the thing at the time. So I was on MySpace. I finally got the story idea, wrote this comic book, got to the place where I'm like ready to publish and get it already rock and rolling on the business side of things. And I reached out to a friend of mine on MySpace who's an artist. And I asked her, I was like, do you know anyone who draws comics? And they're good. I mean, they got to be, and I was showing her, they got to be on this level. She said, yeah, I know a couple of people. And I said, well, they have to know how to draw black people. They have to know how to draw black people. And she says, yeah, I know a guy. And she introduced me to that guy. I went to pick that guy up from College Park Metro Station in DC, in Maryland. And he got into my van. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? We introduced ourselves. And I started driving. Immediately, he saw this book I had in the thing. It was your book, numerology book. So he says, you study numerology book? I said, yeah. I like this cat right here, Lloyd Strayhorn. And I hadn't even met you then. I like this cat right here. He's the
Interesting.
shit. No, I didn't meet you. I said I met him at in DC at the
You-
belly dancing place. doctor, I forgot her name. She does like the belly dance and stuff in a Tacoma station, Tacoma, Maryland.
Yeah.
And she's so she had like a belly dancing studio there at night or toward the evening. She turned to like a lecture spot. You were there. I met you. So I was telling him like I met this guy. He's off the hook, man. He predicts stuff with numbers, and I'm I do that. And so I've been studying it, and I'm getting good at it. He said, well, read me. So I read them. I said, what's your name? And then he gave me his answer, what's your birthday? And I read them. And he said, man, that was amazing. He said, can I read you? And I said, sure. My name is this. And he said, I don't need that. He just started reading me. And Lord,
Really?
Goodness, the things that he was saying, nobody should have known. Like nobody. And it got to the point where he was reading me. I kept looking at my glove compartment because I kept thinking that this was a setup, that somebody had sent him. And I was going to this girl's house with him. I was like, oh, they trying to set me up. And he was like, bro, he said, what you got in that glove compartment? I ain't saying he opened it and my gun was in it. He said, nah, man, it's not like that. I was like, yo, you should know these things. He said, man, I'm just reading. I'm using astrology. I don't know you. That's how serious, intense it was. I said, astrology. And by the way, I knew about astrology. I had did some studying here and there. I had a book called The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need or ever want or ever use of a guy.
I got that.
But I was more into numerology and tarot and palm reading at the time. And so he read. I said, how did you do that without knowing my birthday? And he said, I read your face. I said, fuck out of here. No, you didn't. He said, yeah, I read your face. I said, you can do that with astrology? He said, yeah. So we sat down at this young lady's house, and I gave him the script to my comic book. He read the script while we played chess. We played chess, and as we were playing, he says, man, you are amazing with detail. He said, this is like a movie. I would love to draw this for you. He said, but more importantly, he put the script down. He said, I would rather, he said, but I would really, more than that, want to teach you astrology. I'm like, huh? I'm here for a comic book. And, he tried, what's going on? He said, I said, nah, man, I'm good. I got numerology, blah, 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 blah. He says, I'll tell you what, if I can beat you in 10 games of chess, you be my student. Now, let me pause for a second. I'm a hell of a chess player. And I mean, hell, I've been ranked in city high school, got trophies. You know what I'm saying? I done been in jail, and jailhouse chess is not a joke. It's timed, and you play for
right.
food.
I understand. Jailhouse chess is
I'm playing for food. I'm playing for time on the phone. So, I'm good. Real good. So I'm like, this cat ain't going to be able to fuck with me. Man, he beat me 10 times in a row.
Ari's watching. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
he beat me 10 times in a row. And that has never happened to me. Never.
He beat you how many times in a row?
10 times in a row.
Oh. Wow.
Smashed my little ego. So I said, okay, I'm a man of my word. I'll be your student. But you got to draw my comic book, and I'm going to still pay you. So that happened. And I've been his student, and he became my big brother, a father figure, and one of my best friends in the whole wide world. And he's one of the very few men in his life that I have grown to respect.
What's his name?
Ra Aku.
Yeah, he's born on my birthday. I know Brother Ra Aku. Yeah.
The cosmo physician. Yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
And when I became his student, he had like a couple of others. His cousin, Marku, who's also known as the Lab Coat Astrologer on Instagram. Like, he had a couple of students, and so I jumped in, and I never turned back. So that was kind of like how I got into astrology, aka cosmophysics, as above, so below. That's how I got into it.
Well, I know this. You are brilliant. Well, dealing with Raku, I understand. I more than understand that. And so, but you are also not only a cartoonist, you're a sci-fi writer. How did you merge but it appears to me from my vantage point, being metaphysical, that would easily tie in. How did you tie in astrology with sci-fi? And can you give us an example?
Oh man, okay. Well, here we go. I have been on social media for a long time, teaching astrology, cosmophysics in particular, but really just in the lecture circuit, battling astrologers, metaphysicians from the Black conscious community to the mainstream metaphysical community.
What do you mean
Trying to
battling
show,
them?
yes, battling, trying to show and prove the authenticity and the accuracy of cosmophysics being one of the best systems of astrology that ever was invented. Um,
You mean
that
people
was
were
my goal.
resisting you in the cosmic community?
Well, no, not a lot of people, but there were big wigs that were, and we had battles of the mind. And then for like 8 or 9 years online, I taught for free. I never charged anybody. That was my way of training myself how to teach, and I did readings for free. Is my way of training myself how to be accurate, with readings. So I did that. So it was to a point where I reached the all-time high in my career as far as astrology. Back in 2010, I had the what was it? The Cosmo After Dark blog talk radio show. We had the
Hmm.
Cosmo Physics radio show. I mean, it was all popping back then. And I was getting readings. Oh my goodness, left and right. I was on KTL, Know the Ledge radio. I mean, the readings was coming, and I left the corporate world and became a full-time astrologer and was making a living and a killing off astrology. And I wasn't even expensive. It was just the quality of work that I did.
Hmm.
But I got burnt out. I got burnt out. Reading people, you're trading. It's almost like sex. You're trading energy there,
Hmm.
and especially when you have reoccurring clients, and can come on you, especially if you don't listen. Okay, you give them advice and they pay you for this advice. It's great advice, it's accurate. They still don't listen. They come back like, oh, everything you said was right, but I didn't do that. Give me another rating. So these things annoyed me to no end and drained me to no end. And I was like, man, I don't want to read people anymore. I don't want to be a reader. Don't want to do it. I don't want to predict. I don't want to show my skill. I'm not writing essays no more. I got all kinds of essays online that you can pull up from any type of topic astrologically. I literally have written books really on astrology already. But
Hmm.
I was tired. Tired of with that popularity, with that being in that type of mix, you make a lot of enemies. I was tired of people smudging my name, dragging me through the mud, who don't know me. Tired of people not listening. Tired of, and then all the other stuff that was going on in the world with the police killing black people, just a whole bunch of stuff. I was tired. I wanted to just get away. So
Yeah.
I kind of took a year hiatus, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Because I'm making all this money with astrology, but I'm tired of it. But I said, well, is there a way to combine what I love? I love writing science fiction and comic books, and in that genre, and role playing games, and astrology. And one day I sat down with my mentor. We were having like a long conversation, and I was like, man, what if I could turn some of these characters into zodiac signs? He said, yeah, you can. Each zodiac sign is an archetype. And I'm like, man, he was like, oh, you go get this book, Alice Bailey, Archetypes of the Zodiac, Llewellyn George, Zodiac and Archetypes. They talk about the archetypes. So I went, got that book. Now, mind you, anything he tells me to go read, I go read it. So I
Yeah, I
went,
hear you. I hear you.
I ate those books up. Like, oh, okay. So they showed me the archetypes. Like, oh, then those books, especially Alice Bailey, pointed me to a man called Carl Jung. And I started reading Carl Jung. Blew my mind. Carl Jung,
The psychologist?
yes. He also is an astrologer and a metaphysician. Okay.
Wow,
Um,
interesting.
so oh yeah. So I started reading Carl Jung, and Carl Jung led me to Manny P. Hall. Manny P. Hall blew my mind.
Now that's a
And
deep brother
the,
too.
Yo, yeah. So Carl Jung had a student called Joseph Campbell who wrote a book called A Man with a Thousand Faces and came up with this idea of a hero's journey. Big time stuff in Hollywood. So I'm like, okay. And then he had a student called Christopher Vogler who wrote a book called The Writer's Journey. I read those books, and immediately reading those books, I understood the astrology of them, and they were not astrology books. I said, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So I called my mentor back up, like, hey, something's going on here. And I think I can do astrology I can use astrology to create my characters and my stories. And that led me to, at the time, one of the Harry Potter movies was out. So Harry Potter movie came out, and I decided to say, well, it came out on this day, and the first showing was this time. So I pulled the chart for it, and no. The author of Harry Potter, the young lady, she gave a birth time for Harry Potter, and I pulled the birth time up, and based on cosmophysics, we do something called the eight-place method by how you're injured in your life to help determine the ascendant. I use that methodology to say, hey, the main character is a Virgo rising because he had a scar on his head from birth. All right, and Virgo has Aries in the 8th house of where they get scarred or injured. Right, so I read the Virgo chart, and the Virgo, the sign the Virgo is Libra, Scorpio. So every sign was like a different chapter or different scene in the movie, and it was just like the movie. The plans, I bust out crying in the movie.
Really?
So Ron, he was with me, said, what's wrong? I said, this is crazy. No. So I left the movie. I said, no, this can't be it. So I felt some kind of way just combined. I said, this can't be it. This can't be true. So further, I found out a woman called give me 1 second because I actually wrote it down for you. Some of this stuff for you. But what was her name? Corinne Kenner was her name. And she wrote a book called Astrology and Tarot and Writing. And then another woman, Judy Hill, wrote Astro Characters. And so in Corinne Kenner's book, she was talking about how the planets were characters. The sun was the main actor. Mercury was whoever was the talkative person or the male person or the person communicating. Venus was the love interest. And I'm like, oh, man, this is great. And this is great. And it's not great because it was great because she was teaching me something. It was not great because I was writing something on the lines of what she had wrote. And so I'm thinking, oh, I got to throw this book away. She already wrote it. Okay. So that was one. Then in the Astro Characters, she was doing more what I was doing, which was was determining an ascendant for the characters and basing the stories off of that character. And then she mentioned that a young man wrote, I forgot the name of that story about angels and demons. The movie came out and how he was doing something similar to what I was doing. Well, the only difference between those astrologers and the way they were using astrology to create and what I do is I was actually using the birth time of the idea. So if I got an idea right now, just right freaking now, boom. I got an idea about a love interest, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I know currently, let's see, what time is it? It is 7:25. Currently about 22 to 23 degrees of Aquarius is on the ascendant right now. Your birth sign, by the way. Okay. And I'm talking to you, the Aquarius. That's living astrology right there, for real. And we're talking about astrology, and astrology is Aquarius, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah. That's the living astrology. But, I said, okay, boom, the idea came in. So whatever the idea is, I know that the hero is going to be a Virgonian type person because the sun is in Virgo right now. That's going to be the hero, the sun. I know that the first scene, Act 1, is going to be Aquarius. So it's going to be a scene where it's going to be explosives, things, or some type of science going on, or blah, blah, blah. So maybe there's some stories about somebody who falls in love with a clone. And so the first scene is Aquarius is with Saturn in Aquarius retrograde. Well, Saturn in Pisces retrograde, very close to Aquarius. So I'm going to play on that. We know that excuse me for a second. We know that somebody sent me a message. But the Uranus is in Taurus, right? So
Mhm.
so Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So I'm gonna take Uranus or Aquarius, which is I'm gonna make it a lab. Saturn, which is gonna be the doctor or the person directing the lab, the corporate executive. Uranus is in Taurus, so this is the love interest being created. You know what I'm saying? And then the next scene is going to be Pisces, the sign after Aquarius on that scale, and Neptune in. So it's going to be a dream. So it's going to be the person dreaming about that clone, and then Aries is going to be on the next scene, the third scene or chapter 3, which has I think a Chiron and Neptune, Chiron and North Node in it now. So that person's on the way to work when on their way to work, and they work at the same place where the clone was being made. So I'm creating a story right now. But even though I'm just pulling out my brain, I am synchronizing what I am thinking and creating with the sky above. That is as above, so below. That is cosmo to the physics. Bringing what is above, below. That is how you manifest. That is how you manifest for me. Because I can look at that and say, whoa, that's on the ascendant. It's going to give me a blueprint. There are 12 signs, 12 houses. That's 12 chapters. You can spin it again. It's 24 chapters. And keep spinning and spinning that wheel for how many chapters you want. And I write those chapters according to that chart with my idea. All I do is come up with the idea. The idea has a birth time. Every thought has a birth time, like any being. A thought is a being too. So any thought has a birth time. And so that birth time is going to give you a blueprint of how to manage, how to drive that thought into reality. So I stopped being the passenger in astrology, and I became the driver and spent that wheel and started to manifest the astrological thought. And I did it with stories. I did it with characters. And I began to step out of it. I had a student who's a contemporary, actually. He's a great astrologer, just like me, and a musician. His name is Khalid Scientific. And K-Sci wrote albums based off of his chart. And I said, K, put your ascendant to the chart. The first song on your album should be a Taurus song. The second song on your on your album should be a Gemini song. The third song should be Cancer song. And then the planets should be different, how you change the tempo and the bars and stuff. Man, he took that to heart and took it to a whole new level. And what he showed me was I could do it not just for writing. I could do it for anything. Because that was music. So then I went to DC. There was a guy, my fiance at the time was doing a performance, and they had somebody drawing her as doing a performance. And so I looked up what was going on at the time, and Gemini was on the center. She's a Gemini. The person was drawing with their hands. I said, oh, this is great, right? I looked at that, right? And then after he finished drawing, I said, what are you going to draw next? And he told me, and I pulled up the chart. And I said, draw this, draw that. He drew exactly what I told him to draw. And at the end of it, it was beautiful. And I said, wow. So art, music, and literature, I can create with astrology. Let's try something else. So what I started to do was decorate my house. I went and found the allodial title to my house, so I could see when the house was built, and pulled up the ascendant for my house. And Capricorn was the ascendant. And put a brick of fresco on my house, because Capricorn, the ascendant is the outside, your body, the physical vehicle. So I put bricks on the outside of my house. After Capricorn, you have Aquarius, okay? Aquarius is the second place. So in the house, the valuable part, or the kitchen, was very modern. Everything is the hypest. I walk my kitchen, said, turn on stove, because I have an Aquarian kitchen. That's Aquarius in the second place. My hallways, when you went through my house, always had pictures of things that dealing with the dreams or psychology, or I had an Aquarian in one of my hallways, because Pisces was the third house. And the third house is your doors and your hallways, how you travel through the house, okay? And I decorated my whole house like that. And
you mean the house is actually kind of like a zodiac? Hallways, bedrooms, bathrooms, living rooms, kitchens?
When I did that, My living conditions improved. So many great things would happen in that particular house. So I said, wow, what can this be done? So then I read a book, and I have it right here. Give me 1 second if I can point it out real quick. Here it is. I read a book called The Secret Architect of Our Nation's Capital by David Robertson. I went to every place he had on this book, every site. There's astrological zodiac sites, plain zodiac in plain sight in all the municipal buildings of DC all over. And he has a technique where, because he's a Mason, and the Masons have a ritual called a founding stone ritual or cornerstone ritual, where it's a ritual where they lay the first brick or the cornerstone. A lot of churches will have it. They have a cornerstone that had 1925. Okay, so you see that's the cornerstone. They lay that cornerstone, and the moment that cornerstone is laid, that is the birth time of that building. They erect the chart of the building, and then they conduct business based on that chart out of that building. That's from this book. And I said, oh, crap.
There are a lot of things going on in this universe that if people only
knew. So I looked at these things and began to put together my own style of cosmophysics, which I call conceptual cosmophysics or conceptual astrology. Conceptual astrology is the astrology of creative visualization. Okay.
What do you mean? That sounds interesting.
Okay. So conceptual astrology is a mix of an astrological mindset. It follows the philosophy of cosmophysics, which is the Jeet Kune Do of astrology. And we follow Brother Master Bruce Lee's idea of mixing what works together to create something better. And so I use that eclectic perspective and use some derivative housing, which is a technique in astrology, profections, which is a technique in astrology, whole signs, and I mix them with the idea of the hero's journey, and the things that Corinne Kenner and Judy Hill was talking about. I threw them all together, and I started to write a book, which is almost done actually, called Conceptual Astrology. And I developed a technique called opening the lotus. So in that system, open the lotus, whatever's at the system is the main idea. Whatever's at the ascendant is the main idea, the main point. That's what we're discussing, whichever is the ascendant. So if I put Aries at the ascendant, right? And I'll give you one that's really quick. If I put Cancer at the ascendant, Cancer represents in the zodiac women. So Cancer in the first house talks about the physical look. Well, Cancer is round. Cancer is a round cell on the outside and soft on the inside, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, so are women. Women have shape. They have shapely rounds. So the next house at the Cancer is Leo. Leo in the second place lets you know that a woman's focus, her main focus is her children, feeding her children or feeding her mental children. Because if she don't have physical children, she has children of the mind. Okay. And it also shows you how to date women properly, because Leo is a sign of dating. It's in the second house. This is why men give gifts to women. This is why you take women out to eat. Leo in the second house. This is why you take it out to the theater, into the movies, why it's proper to do that. I'm not being chauvinistic or anything.
No. I remember when we met about 3 weeks ago, you was explaining that. So before we finish and get into the sci-fi, you got to start with what women represent and all of the stages and what they do, and then do men. I had never seen it described that way, but if it didn't fit, I don't know what did. It fit like a glove.
Well, all of this kind of plays into play because it got me to the point of ask the zodiac, ask astrology, that the creator has created this cosmic science to answer any of your questions. Okay. So when I deal with people, I will often go back and astrologize at first before I deal with you. Okay, because that has never failed me. Never. People has. Okay, so
Interesting.
so I if you go on, okay, so we know, blah blah blah. The third place is Virgo in the tree of Cancer, right? In the wheel, in the wheel of Cancer, and the third place is how you communicate. It's a place of early childhood learning. It's a place of siblings and things of that sort. And I'm giving you negatives and positives, so everyone don't go crazy when I give you the negatives too, okay? But generally, and this is not a positive thing, it should change. But generally, now we see why people say women may be nags or very hypercritical because Virgo's in the third place. So a woman's criticism, a woman can be hypercriticist or criticizing or very anal retentive or but she's also the person who teaches you how to clean yourself. Your mom is, because Cancer is also the mom, women mom. The person who taught you how to clean behind your ears, and the first person who teaches you a routine and things of that nature as well. And maybe a nag as well, maybe nagging, maybe gossipers, and we expect women to speak a certain way. Virgo is, particular, a certain way. And if you see a woman cursing, you're like, oh my God, she's cursing.
Yeah,
She can't be,
yeah.
So now you go to the Libra in the fourth. Well, the mother or the woman is the master of the home. Here's why. Astrologically proven, it proves it. Saturn, the master, the discipliner, the director, the boss, is exalted in Libra in the fourth place of the Cancer chart of women. So this lets you know that women run the house. This is why when a man is at home, he needs to relinquish his power to that woman because she's the master of that home. And the reason why Libra is the lawyer, Libra is the balancer, Libra represents the general well, I'll put it like this. Libra represents the person, or your mom is the person, or the woman in the home is the person who kind of like keeps the balance. And I'll give an example. I've heard this from my wife, and I've heard it in other people's houses. Like, hey, you doing too much with that kid, or you doing too much with that boy. You don't you're too rough with them, or you don't discipline. Let me just, the women will stop that because they are the ones who bring the decision making and power in the home. So that's astrologically right there. So then when you go to Scorpio in the fifth, this is a beautiful thing because this shows you why women are goddesses, especially the Black woman. I especially indicate the sign of all the water signs, but especially the sign of Cancer to Black women. So when I tell you that the Black woman is God, I'm not saying it to get women. I'm not saying it to be cool with the Black conscious community. None of that. I ain't hotepping, as they say it. None of that. The Black woman is God because she births gods. Because Scorpio, the sign of rebirth, the sign of regeneration, the sign of immortality, the phoenix, is the fourth place of women. And the fourth place is your natural power, your natural gifts that the Creator gives you. So the natural power that the Creator has given the woman or the mother is to give birth. Because it's a rebirth, the God. You know what I mean? And she has the power of the orgasm. Le Pete Mort. Okay? And there are some negative things with that. All right? Because she only has the power to really abort a baby. So, statistically, she's the highest killer of children.
Interesting. I hadn't thought of it like that.
So, because I don't make those decisions, she does. So, you have Sag in the sixth place. Check this.
And now we're talking about it from a woman's perspective, how it's going from Cancer. Now we to Sagittarius.
Right. So I went from Cancer to Ascendant, and what I'm doing is I am opening the lotus. This is the technique. Opening the lotus is taking the sign that's on the ascendant as a subject matter. Cancer equals women. And then we're going to go sign by sign, house by house, petal by petal, and open that lotus to reveal something, a deeper perspective of that concept through astrology. Okay. It's like a mechanic going under the hood. How you say again?
Can we do the men after you finish the women?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a mechanic going under the hood. You know, you go under the hood of your car to get the details of what's going on. And this is what we're doing. We're opening the lotus.
Sagittarius. So now we're in the Sagittarius
in the sixth place. Okay. This lets you really understand who first teaches you religion. Okay. Who teaches you about your hygiene? Okay. Who grants you that education and teach you about your spirituality, about your mother? She's the first person. This is why Sag is the sixth place of Cancer, the woman. Okay. So then you have Capricorn in the seventh. Check this. That's marriage, seventh place, right? We got Capricorn there. Most women in the world marry people older than them. Capricorn. Older. Most women marry for security. Capricorn. In the seventh. Most women are respected if they're married. Capricorn in the seventh. Okay. So women get married. I mean, for life, really, but it may get divorced. But women go into it because it's long term for them. Okay, and so this is Capricorn in the seventh place of Cancer, the woman. Yeah. Okay, now we go to the eighth place of sexuality and sex, right? Okay, we have Aquarius there. Very, very interesting. Very interesting, because when a woman has an orgasm in the eighth place, will tell you, would describe the situation and the things that will bring about that orgasm. We find in the natural chart of women, or Cancer in the first, right? Aquarius. Aquarius is electrifying, right? Shocking, right? And any woman would tell you when she has a real orgasm, it feels like electricity going through her entire body. Shocking. Okay. So, you know, that is Aquarius in the eighth place. And people are going to be crazy when I say this, but I know more women that have had group sex than men. It's much easier for them. Yeah, much easier for them to have it. Okay,
men, we got the sign of groups. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Right. And knowing that gave me a bigger understanding of polygamy and polyandry. Okay, and polyandriness. Okay, and I honestly also understood why. And I know people are going to get mad at me when I say this, but if a woman tells me that she is part of the LGBTQ community, I never fret. Men, I was like, oh, you ain't supposed to do that. But women, I don't, because I know Aquarius is that that eighth place. Okay, that's something they experiment with. That's something that's natural to do to them, not a man. That's just my thought. Please don't crucify me for it. But I put research behind it. I'm like, whoa, you know, if
I know you know what you're talking about. I know how you roll.
I went to lots of people, and I did it publicly online, and the polls show exactly what I'm saying. So on Facebook was the poll in the group called Society of Digital Astrologers on Facebook. You can find that poll for that research.
So Pisces would be next then, right? After that.
Yeah, so Pisces in the ninth. So who supports the church, the mosque, and the synagogue? Women. I don't tithe, not really. But my mother, my grandmother, my aunties, they had checkbooks for tithing. Okay, they got a check for tithe. They tithe every week. Women keep these mega churches going, not men. It's a bunch of women. We just had a discussion about the metaphysical community and who supports us more. It's the women. Well, this is Pisces in the ninth place. Women support spirituality. Women support the churches. Women support the metaphysical community the most. Okay, they drive that the most. And this is and proof of it is most of the metaphysical positions, you know, are women. Most of them. Okay, straight out the box. Most of them.
The 10th house.
Spirituality is a benefit to everyone, but especially to women, it is their blessing, because women can spread their blessing through their spirituality, and that is Pisces in the ninth place. You know, your mom telling you, "Hey, we got to pray. We a family that pray. We got faith." All that. That's that mama's telling you right there, because faith has driven so many women in our community. Faith has got them by. Faith has got them over. Faith has got them out of their situations. And that is Pisces in the ninth place. So we go to Aries in the 10th. This was a hard one for me. But after I researched it, I understood it. Because I understand, I said, how can Aries, which represents men and masculinity and the power of that, be in the place of what women are known for the most, where they are best at? Well, statistically, some of the best leaders ever have been women. Historically, wars, Aries have been of renown, have been fought all over the world because of women. Helena Troy, Cleopatra, Sheba, must I go on? Okay. Today in Baltimore City, dudes fight and kill over their women. Women have the power over men. Because we do everything. 90% of what we do is for a woman. Okay? All right? A lot of us here. So that's Aries in the 10th. Taurus in the 11th. You ever notice why all the girls want to go out with their girlfriends to eat to the mall? And what they do, they get together. When women get in groups, Taurus in the 11th, what they do, they eat and they shop. Enough said. And they go to the beauty salon.
And that's what we've been talking about all the time. The women like to go eating, they go shopping, they go whatever.
Yeah, that's all Taurus in the 11th. And so the 12th house is Gemini. And I'm just gonna put it like this: a woman's mouth get her in trouble all the time. And now we see why, on a negative level, the church and the governments try to suppress women's education, try to suppress women's rights, try to suppress their minds and their education, and how it was against the law back in the age of Pisces to teach a woman how to read and write. This is because Cancer has Gemini in the 12th house, and women are gossipers. I don't care what they say. I don't care to get mad. It's the truth. I've been raised in a house full of women. I know exactly what I'm talking about. Believe that.
Now,
gossip.
Now let's switch. The woman component stuff, which symbolizes Cancer, and went through the houses. What does symbolically, astrologically, does men represent and the phases they go through?
Well, men, Aries are descendant. Let's open the lotus on it.
Okay.
Sign by sign, house by house, petal by petal. Aries is at the ascendant, so it's the main idea. Okay. Every other sign supports Aries being what it is. No sign is an island to itself. Every sign contributes to any sign being itself. Okay. So Aries is itself because Taurus is in the second place. Gemini is in the third place. And all these things these components make Aries be what it is conceptually. So, an archetypal, through archetypes. So, with that said, men or masculinity or masculine energy is best. It's best because it's all the fire signs, but best or poignantly represented by Aries at the ascendant. And so, men are aggressive. Man, we know we get red in the face. Men, we know we're always on the go. All those things. It's really easy to describe Aries in the first, right? Taurus in the second. Men value pretty things. Men value art. Men value beautiful things. Men value money, food, and movable possessions and personal items and their personal wealth. Men value that. Okay.
And men also value pretty women.
Right, because that's Taurus in the second. Like women value heroic, charismatic, attention grabbing men, or Leo in the
Oh,
second, right?
Leo's in the second. I got you. I got you. All right.
Okay, that's what they value. So we're going back. Men, we got codes. You know, we the first person who had codes. You know what I'm saying? I talk a different way than my wife. I talk a different way to people who are, you told me Ari's watching. I got to switch my language up. So that's Gemini in the second place. Okay. All right. And so then I'm going to Gemini in the third place, pardon me. So then you have Cancer in the fourth. In the home, the man becomes passive. His wife takes over. This is Cancer in the fourth place. When you come home, men, you got to leave that masculine macho stuff out the house. What you come in, you're pleasant, you're kind, you're grateful, you're delicate, you are welcoming, you are nurturing. That's dad in the home. Okay? So we have that. And then you have then you have Leo in the fifth house. And this is why I don't care what age a man is, we're always big kids. We're always going to have our toys.
Video games or something.
Something that we love, that we pay all our attention to. Okay? And this is why also men love hard. You know what I mean? It was funny. I'm gonna go back to something to Cancer had Scorpio on the fifth. Something I wanted to say. You ever heard your mother say, "I brought you in this world, I'll take you out"?
Yep. It was so
That's so Scorpio in the fifth place, like, isn't it?
Yeah.
I brought you in this world, I'll take you out. But back to men. Okay, so you had that, and this is why the men are the attention seekers, and to the point where we're like big kids, and we try to be the big guy on campus, and the person everyone looks up to, the king, and all that kind of stuff, right? So after that, you're gonna have Virgo in the sixth place. Men routinely go to work. It is normal, everyday routine for a man to get up every day and go to work, right? That's Virgo in the sixth house. That's everything. So now you see why we had this mentality of men work. That's what they do. They get up, they go to work every day. They go up and do something every day routinely, get up and go to work, and they strategize, they build, and so forth and so forth. Because Virgo is the sixth place of Aries, which is the zodiac of men. And at the ascendant, that is the subject matter, and we have opened the lotus house by house, sign by sign, petal by petal. So now we're on the seventh sign, which is Cancer, marriage. Women marry for the long term. Women marry older people. Women marry for stability and all that kind of stuff. Not men. We marry to be loved, to be held, cuddled. We marry our mothers. We look for someone who's going to be nurturing, who's going to mother us and mother our children and mother our family and stuff like that. Someone who's going to be kind, because we're out there in the world where I had to deal with a-holes every day. I had to deal with swindling other men who are aggressive and trying to control, bully, boss, manipulate, whatever. And I can't come home to a woman like that. I got to come home to something that's soft, that's cuddly. Okay.
That's loving.
Yeah. Yes. That's loving. All right. You have Scorpio in the eighth. This is why one, I don't know if you ever heard, but have you ever heard men actually dying from having an orgasm? I never heard a woman dying from an orgasm, but I've heard plenty of men busting, having an orgasm, and they die. Look at Scorpio in the eighth house right there for men. Men
I know three of my women clients who told me their husband died in the act of sex.
Yeah, but listen to me. Go find it. You've never heard about a woman dying from an orgasm. They may have died during sex, but not an orgasm. Men have died from orgasms. That's on record. That happens to us, okay?
In fact, Governor Rockefeller here in New York City back in the day, he passed away from sex.
Yeah, I bet he did. Probably some ritualistic occult sex too. So, then you have your Sagittarius in the ninth. Men are the world travelers, the navigators and circumventors of the globe. The people who are probably when you're the men have been the colonizers and all that, the frontiersmen and the world travelers and men are the head of all the major religions. Okay, so and most of the major judicial systems are mostly headed by men, even though there are women in there, mostly men. Okay, this is all Sagittarius in the ninth, Capricorn in the 10th. Men are naturally bossy, CEO, directors, builders, contemplators, strategizers, everything that Capricorn is. Men are known for. We're known for building. We're known for constructing. We're known for strategizing. We're known for all of that. We're also known to be dictators, bosses, mean, surly, all that. Men. So then you have the 11th place. Aquarius is the 11th place, and when men get around other men in groups is when they feel the most freest. Okay, there are things that I don't normally say, even when I'm around by myself. When I get around other men, boom, 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 why did I say that? Because I feel comfortable. Men get around each other, they feel comfortable. They feel like they have a natural camaraderie with each other, and we begin to spill the beans with one another. But we also know how to collaborate and to solidify into a working unit. All right.
Does that explain why we go to these games, basketball, baseball, World Series games, Super Bowls? I mean, there are women up in there, but there ain't nothing but dudes running throughout that stadium. Okay?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
And that's as good as you can get it.
That's right. And then you go to Pisces in the 12th. A man's lack of spirituality or his low level of spirituality is his undoing. A man without faith or spirituality will undo himself. And I don't have to explain that. You know plenty of men like this who do. And so we tend to men, and I ain't talking about preachers, because a preacher or a pastor, a person, that's not the majority of men. The majority of men shy away from spirituality. They shy away from religion outright themselves. They leave that to the pastors and to the women. All right, unless they're using it for their cause, but that's not our thing. To outright use spirituality, that's not our thing. Now we may do it secretly. Secretly, men pray, just like men cry secretly. Pisces in the 12th. Mostly, we don't really do that in public. We kind of tend to do that alone, and it's not us. It's not about other men calling us whatever. Well, it could be, because Pisces is also shame. So to cry out in public would be something shameful for us. So men tend to keep their shame hidden. Women tend to talk about their shame to other people or other friends. That's why they got them out and stuff. Okay. So I gave you the circle, the wheel. We drove that wheel. We weren't passengers. We were driving the wheel now. We're now drivers of the zodiac because we're spinning the wheel. And by spinning the wheel, we're opening the lotus. Sign by sign, house by house, petal by petal, to go under the hood of that zodiac concept and get a deeper understanding, a deeper relation with the concept. So now that we know that, I can say, well, now I understand women and men better. And I can see also that Aries and Cancer have a natural square in the zodiac. This is why men and women, although we love the heck out of each other, we love each other. We also are always going to bump heads, because how we see things, perceive things, men perceive things. We're going to push that Aryan energy, that masculine energy. We're going to put that Cancer in, that feminine water energy. We're going to push that fire. They're going to push that water.
And those are square elements.
But the secret of a square, okay? A square means action must be taken. So when a man and a woman come together, something got to happen. It's like a square at a 90-degree angle. Taking pieces of wood at a 90-degree angle and doing this, what's going to happen? You're going to start a fire, okay? It's going to be some action. It's going to be some heat up in this joint. And that is what happens when a man and a woman get together. So it's gonna be some fire. It's gonna be some heat. It's gonna be some steam because the women is water. You know what I mean? And men are
Yeah.
fire. It's gonna be some steam coming up in there. But the key to any square is that to overcome the square, you have to deal with the two squaring energies. And if you deal with and reconcile and come to some type of understanding of the two squaring energies, you will get the best out of some of the best. You will move forward on a higher level with that energy. You will get some of the best performance out of that energy. I look at a square like the exaltation of Mars and Capricorn. That energy can describe a square to me. Mars and Saturn energy together, mix Mars and Saturn, and that energy describes a square. Okay, and that is the energy you're gonna get with a woman and a man. Push and pull, push and pull, push and pull, fast and slow, action. See, and so when you understand that, when you're dealing with, we're not dealing with women. I understand the woman's zodiac. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody has that personal chart. So you have that generalization, that blueprint, and then you have that personal chart, and then you have the transit. And so this formula, it's just one piece of a much larger puzzle. But I'm showing you, if you understand, if you ask the zodiac, if you open on Lotus on a concept, it will not only give you a better understanding of the concept, you begin to understand the authenticity of astrology. You be like, wow, now I see why some of the everyday nuances of life, which we never think about, they're so astrological, So that's what I wanted to show you as far as open the Lotus. And, using those concepts, I use the concept of a man, I use the concept of a woman. Hell, I can use the concept of the LGBTQ community, which I equate to Aquarius at the ascendant. Okay.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, they're all about the LGBT. They're all about being activists, having their freedom, doing their thing. Some negative things that look at it, they may be wild, weird, or something different. You know what I'm saying? Aquarius is the Andronian sign. The water bearer is the Andronian sign. Guadagnines, who is the water barrier, was also a sexual partner to Zeus in the mythology. See what's going on with that? You know what I'm saying? You got that right there. You got Pisces in the second place. All right. Their values they have been shamed for their values. Okay. And things of that nature. The third house being Aries, the most vocal and the most represented of the LGBT community are actually men. I don't care if they're trans men. I don't care if they're something male but it's the masculine energy that's mostly vocal and represented in Aquarius right there. I mean, it's Aries in the third place. And so, we spin that whole wheel. We drive it. We can look. We can go backwards real quick.
How did you come up with this wheel concept for males, females, and others? How'd you come up with this,
bro? Raw, cool. The Cosmocrat.
I gotta get Raku on because I spoke to him about a couple of months ago. I've got to have him on. It's just
this genius.
Is a very small world, Reese.
Yes, I know.
A very small world, and the brother's born on my birthday too.
I mean, he's a genius. He guided me. Like it was almost like he gave me a torch and said, "Run," and I've been running ever since. And wherever I go, I light things on fire.
Yeah.
Wherever I go, I bring a light. I am turning the light on wherever I go. He just let me run with it, and he sits back and giggles.
I was honored to have you in my home, and I'm going to have you back in the home live with Lloyd family too. Because really, it's my fault. I got you distracted because we did touch on your sci-fi writing and the archetypes, but I was just intrigued how you took the women in general. Started with women representing the sign of Cancer and then moved into each of the houses. And if that didn't seem to fit the nature of the woman, and then you did the man too. So I just wanted to get that share because that is that's amazing. And then we're going to talk about some of the things you wrote. So we're going to have you back before the end of the year because we're a little past an hour. I'm saying,
yeah. I just realized that.
Yeah, I ain't even get to your piece yet. So that's me being selfish about amazed how you broke down the women and their nature of how they go through the stage, and it seemed to fit perfectly as well as us men. God bless
And
you,
it's
sir.
and it's anything. It's psychology, anything you could think of, and you put Scorpio to the ascendant, it will open up and explain the science of psychology, mythology. Sagittarius is Jupiter's. Zeus was a giant. Sagittarius in the first house. Capricorn the second. His father tried to eat him. It was the third house. He holds and welds the lightning bolt or lightning Aquarius in the third place. And his messenger was also Gualamanes, who was bisexual or whatever the case may be. That's all in the third place. You know what I'm saying? You got Pisces in the fourth place. He was born in the island, in a cave. He was hidden during his birth. Okay. So I can spread out that myth that myth. I
Man,
don't care what it is.
you need to write a book. You need to write a book. I mean, it's just well, anyway, we're gonna have my pool on too at some point up the road, but we're gonna have you back before this year is over, so you can really get into the sci-fi, because we seem to be in a sci-fi generation right now more than anything.
Yeah, the thought that I subscribe to, we are in the age of Aquarius. So if you're looking at the Aquarius at the ascendant, and we're speaking about the age, the second place is Pisces, right? And what is coming to rise financially? Cryptocurrency. Pisces in the second house. That's cryptocurrency. So I can open that wheel and show you how today's civilization model is modeled after that wheel, because we're living in that age.
Because that's what's going to be. A whole lot of things are changing with the way the currency is going and becoming more digital, less paper. There's a whole lot of things that's going on. But for those of you, please get in touch with my guest, Reese Robertson, an astrologer. I always say, I should have said astrologer extraordinaire, because that's my impression of you. Sci-fi writer to the nth degree, Omori Reese at Gmail. Now, these are how people can call you. Do you do consultations?
Not really anymore. So I
Are
have
you teaching courses or anything?
not really anymore. I have taken a break from that stuff and start focusing on financial astrology. And I have been using astrology to do forex, cryptocurrency, and investments. And I have been mastering that right now. And
In
that
fact,
is
when we
more,
bring you back, we're going to be talking about financial astrology.
yeah, and
Because
that's more exciting to me than reading people. I don't have to deal with people and their problems. I'm focusing on using astrology to make my life better. And that's what I'm about. I'm about a 361 lifestyle. We in cosmos physics, we don't say 360, the circle. We say 361, the spiral, because we spiral out of 360 ciphers, because a circle becomes repetitive and redundant. And so you have to spiral out to the next cipher, to the next circle. And the sun doesn't go 360 degrees. It actually goes 360 point something degrees, and that's that one. So 361 is a salutation, is a for us in cosmos physics, and that's what we're about.
so that
361
explains your
astrology.
cash app, which is $ Reese Robertson 361.
And Cosmo 361, I believe, is Raw's website and Instagram. So you can go to my Instagram, Reese. I think it's Reese or Reese 361. And I have posted a lot of things. Or you can go to my Twitter, which is Reese. And a lot of things I've posted there of my work. My Facebook page, unfortunately, was hijacked by someone who's impersonating me and trying to get people to get readings.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
don't have access to
yeah.
that right
That's
now.
why I have to put disclaimers. I don't send any DMs. But financially, when J.P. Morgan in the early 1900s, when they found out that he used astrology because he was taught by Evangeline Adams, a famous astrologer of her day, and the question posed to him, is it true that astrology makes millionaires? He says, no, it makes billionaires.
Yep.
If you go to the stock exchange was founded on May 17th in the 1700s. When the stock market is doing well, this says the stock market is bullish. Well, what is the zodiac sign of May 17th? It's a Taurus. And what is the symbol of Taurus, which is the bull? So, I
Cool.
mean,
Yep.
there's
That's
a
Wall
lot of
Street.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But so there's a lot of astrological components in finance that's right in front of our face. And that's why we're going to have you back on to talk about that.
So,
Okay?
yeah, I can definitely talk about for financial astrology now, couldn't do it before, but now I'm pretty kind of sharp at it. I've made some money. I've
As
made
they
some
say,
money.
I saw the receipts. You showed me the receipts, brother. Okay.
Yeah, you saw it. Yeah, I use it for gambling. I have a gambling formula and a law of attraction formula to manifest with astrology. So all of those things I did first before I even used astrology for creating. So I'm kind of, if you ever read the book The Artist's Way, I'm kind of using astrology like the artist's way, and that's conceptual astrology. And I can only do that, be creative, by having the concrete mathematics and the predictive astrology of cosmophysics down packed first. The mathematics, the sacred mathematics, is why I became such a great predictive astrologer and even a much more extraordinary science fiction writer, by knowing the mathematics. And that's because I learned cosmophysics from Ra Akul. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to tell you too.
Huh?
You know Joyce? You may know her, Joyce Jilson. Joyce Jilson. Do you remember her? She was a syndicated astrologer. She used to work for Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan. Remember?
Yes,
she's also the woman. She's also the woman who guided George Lucas for his launch date for Star Wars. So this stuff is in the movie too. We didn't get the half of it. How I can show you movies like Fast and the Furious, and on the debut, you look up in the sky and Pluto and Mars are conjunct, and that's Fast and Furious, or Star Wars, and you got Uranus and Mars and Uranus when Star Wars came out, and all these times that's Star Wars. Man, this is something that was stolen from us. Then it has been hidden from us, and we were told that it was satanic and occultish. It is occultish. It's not satanic.
No, not.
This was hidden for you for a reason. I had opened the doors up to this, looking at it in the entertainment industry, looking at it from a creative perspective, looking at it from a historical perspective of what's going on in history and what's going on now, and have developed it into a lifestyle via Ra Akul's teaching. So when people ask me, what is your religion? It's cosmophysics.
I got you. Brother, I can't thank you enough. I didn't mean to keep you longer than what it is, but this was great. And just like when we met about 3 weeks ago, we was just talking. You were supposed to go somewhere at 12. That never happened. So anyway, Reese, thank you very, very much, man. This was most appreciative. So we're going to have you back. I'm going to be definitely talking about financial astrology. We're not going to ask you all your trade secrets, but I know this. You showed me receipts, and I was impressed. I was very, very impressed with the receipts you showed me from your casino wins. And you're the best at what you do, brother. That's all. Give it credit where credit is due.
I'm one of the best. The best is Ra Akul.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be on too at some point. You know what I'm saying? And how he does it. But this, I think, is so well that we all happen to be in that same circle of people who have done this and really paved the way for things. And you've been one of the best at it too, with your Star Wars shirt on, brother.
Well, you know, I started out following people like yourself. Lloyd, you've been one of my greatest inspirations. You, Ra Akul, Will Brabham, even to an extent, Sam Reynolds. All you guys have been really,
Sam Reynolds.
Yeah, you guys have been really inspirational and where I wanted to focus and point to. And now that I know that astrology is living, skies are not the limit. The universe is.
And you know what that makes me think of? We were in Maryland and we were waiting outside of this restaurant and stuff like that. The woman and her husband came up. And
Georgia Peach.
Then she said she followed me, but that her father used to listen to me. I said, wow, I've been doing this a long time, you know? So
that blew my mind because I've only seen that a couple of times in life. So the young lady just out the blue was like, can I talk to you? And I thought she was trying to say something to me. I was like, oh, no. She was like, I'm not talking to you. I'm trying to talk to him. Are you Lloyd Strayon? Like she said, just like that. She said, well, listen, I follow you, me and my husband. She went and got her husband. She said,
Yeah,
I've
she
been
went
following
and
you.
got her. She went and dragged her husband.
She was like, I've been following you since my father. My father, you read my father, you read me. Man, that was great for a person who's been following you and to recognize you and to come and give you that type of accolades and love and to say how you changed their life. Because if you're a metaphysician, especially a cosmophysician, astrologer, this is what I'm gonna tell people. If you're not saving lives and changing lives, then what the are you doing? Why are you doing this? That's the number one reason you should be doing this. Changing lives and saving lives and healing people. Because you can do that with this. And if you're not doing that, then you're in the wrong place, the wrong business. And you're giving the real folks like Lloyd, like Raw, like myself, bad names. Because
And that's
we're
what
in the
we do.
community
We
doing
save
real work.
lives. Too. We
Yeah,
save
we're in
lives.
the community doing, we're saving lives. Believe me, I do charts for surgery, all kinds of stuff. Medical astrology is another one of my fortes that I don't advertise because of the stress I have been under doing it. But I know how to do it.
I'm
It's
in
a book
medical
called.
astrology too. I've done that too. In fact, I just did a piece on TikTok about signs in a very brief way and on this show. But
There's a
anyway,
book
enough is
called.
enough. Listen, we're going to have you
I
back.
want you to get this book. I want you to get this book. It's called The Astrology of Death by Robert Hawk. The
Astrology.
Astrology of Death. Okay.
And the name is
Robert
Robert
Hawk
Hulk,
turned me on that book.
H-U-L-K?
Man,
H-U-L-K?
yeah. Robert Hawk.
Okay.
Aulk, I think. And
Okay.
that book is deadly. Okay, deadly.
Pardon the
Because
pun, right?
that really helped me. Yeah, that really helped me with yeah. I predicted people's transitioning and passing. I don't do it anymore because the effects were not what I thought it would be. I don't care. I just thought that people knowing would be okay, and I don't
No,
know
I
what I
don't get
thought.
into that.
But
I don't get
I
into
should
that.
have did
Even
it.
if I know, I keep it to myself.
Yeah, I
That's what
shouldn't
I
have
do.
done it because I predicted deaths to the day, and the people were not appreciative of that. And I lost a friend that I had a 20-year relationship with because I predicted their father's death. But they asked me, and I did it. I shouldn't have, even
No,
if they
people
asked
ask
me.
me and I politely refuse because I says my attitude is the creator says, "Oh, you're gonna get into this game too? Then you next." So I figured that like let me stay on this way. The only time I'll ask a question like that is if a person transition and I'll say, by any chance, did they pass in this, like the young lady? I'll say, was it this month, that month? And almost
Right.
always able to confirm it's that month. I kind of go the back way. I don't go front. Funny. Let's say you predicted somebody, they sold all their worldly possessions, they don't pass away. Next thing you know, you get a call from their lawyer. Like, yeah, man, you said I so and so, and I'm still here 6 months later. Now I'm broke. I gave all my possessions to my. No, people, something else. No, people, like you said, the astrology and the numerology is accurate. It's the people that are something else.
That's right. So
So
that
that's it.
you know,
But anyway, your last words? What was you going to say?
uh, just continue to rock. ROC, a revolution of consciousness. 361.
Thank you. 361, buddy. You have a blessed day. And thank you for joining us, too. All righty.
Absolutely, Lloyd. And outside of this, I got to get. I want to come to Harlem very soon, so I'll be giving you a call anyway.
That's automatic. Consider it done. You my guest.
All right.
Okay. Take care,
All
buddy.
right. All right.
So
361.
everybody, I want to thank you, Reese. I call him ever Reese. He is Reese Robertson. He is one of the best of that you can get. Yes, I did get sidetracked because when I met him a couple of weeks ago and I was out of town, the way he was breaking things down, I says, wow, to understand the whole engine of how women work, the whole engine and process of how men work, going through the various stages. Once he got the what you call it, the rising sign of that position, it was just great. But I do want to let you know that next week we're going to have two of the guests. One of those guests was a young lady we met when I was away. She was also into the metaphysics too, and I promised her about being on the show. She was born on the 19th, and both of them were ones. She was a Gemini one, and the husband was a Cancer one, but they were very nice. Before I go, I want to let you know that my classes are on sale, all three classes. And as you see, I have a total of over 1,500 reviews on these three courses, and all of these courses are listed as bestseller, and highest rated. So this is not Lloyd Strayhorn seeing it. So I want you to see for your eyes, see for your own eyes, the nature of these courses. And it's interesting because the only time I'll advertise these courses when they are ridiculously on sale. So you have no excuse not to have them in your metaphysical library. Okay. They're on sale for the next couple of days. And also, the August letter will be almost extending itself. But if you want a free newsletter for August, just go to my website, lloyd-strayhorn.com. And finally, for the app is really beginning to kind of take on a life of its own. Now, there's a couple of things that's worked out. It's not perfect yet, which is why I see now companies, even Apple, always doing updates. Other apps are doing updates, bugs fixed. Read them, but now I understand because I'm kind of involved with this. And should you have any questions you want to um, download it, just go to star8.com. Should you have any problems with it at all that I can share with the developers so we can make it tighter and tighter, please leave me a note at a star8llc@gmail.com. That's 888 c@gmail.com. And don't forget, please get the audiobook, Numbers in You. I recorded the entire book myself. Of course, some of it was edited because of chapters that were in the past that is definitely no longer applied. I could have read that too, but I just left it alone. And for those of the podcasts, please, shows like this that has been on in the past, Yana Woodhouse that I had on Monday. Hers will be up and running soon so you can hear it. And I am new to this. I had a gentleman on, John Edwards, who said, Lloyd, you need to get on TikTok. I said, yeah, right. That was about a year ago. And boy, it has been something else. So for those of you who can't take the courses on sale, I have a mini version on TikTok called this under series, the Astrology Numerology for Beginners. It's just for you. Okay. So everybody, I want to thank you very, very much for joining me. This has been an interesting day. Everybody, have a very nice day and take care of yourself because, as I said, if you don't, the question becomes who will. So all of you have a blessed day until then.